Hello! Primitives and non-primitives in Java. I know that this topic was, which one is which one? That takes time to register. At least it was in my case. So let me try it out with you if you need the help. What is a primitive? When Java compiler compiles a program, it has to reserve the memory of the variables that it is using. Otherwise, what will happen is, in the memory where there are other background programs going on, some other program or some other process that can use up the memory required by this program. So what happens is, the value that is stored in the memory for this program may have a chance of getting overwritten if a variable is not reserved for its requirement in the memory. Now these primitives are certain data types that the compiler knows from before as for the size requirement. So if it is a primitive of type integer, then the compiler from before only it knows that I have to book 4 bytes in the memory because this integer will require that much of space or will be allocated that amount of space. If more memory is required, then variable data type long will be used. If comparatively less is required, then short will be used, and therefore the compiler will save that amount of memory before the work actually uses them. Now, primitives are helpful in which way? That since the data type and the size is known, whenever you use that fixed amount of size automatically is allotted by the compiler because the compiler can already guess the size it is registered with. Then comes combinational variables, which is non-primitives. Now what are non-primitives? These are composite data types. What do you mean by composite? That means data which are made up of more other data. Now when you see an array, what happens in case of an array? An array is made up of multiple numbers or variables of data types. So multiple data of the same type makes an array with one name. So under that name, what is the amount of memory to be reserved? That is not fixed before the program is executed. So when the program runs, during the runtime of the program, the compiler has to calculate how much memory it will save against that variable. Like here in the example, you can see the variable name is AR. Now AR will not require the space requirement of one integer, will it? No, because AR will require the memory that so many integers will consume. And how many integers? That depends on what is the value in n when the program is going on. Right. Therefore, when the compiler will have to allocate space to the variable AR, it will require to do some calculation, and that calculation is done with the help of keyword new. So this new keyword has got a calculation work to do, which is a simple calculation like integers size requirement into how many integers are required here. Right? In this way, we can say arrays are composite data type and they require size which is not predefined. Now, another one is string. Now, this string comes with a different look because it is not a primitive, it is an array of characters. But Java has given this string as an advantage. Therefore, string, in spite of not being a primitive, has got quite a few advantages which are very close to what primitives are. But it will not be considered as a primitive by theory, by rule. Okay. Then comes the other non-primitive, which is called objects. An object is what? It is, we can call it a variable, or it is a result of an encapsulation of data and methods, where the enclosed data can be of different types, varied types. So if we make a class, and in a class if we keep some data, then that class, as you had seen in case of the definition of class and objects, then that class becomes a data type of that particular specification. So what will happen in that case is, what object will be made against that class will contain all those members which it is made up of. Then that object will become a non-primitive data type. Data type because the class is defining the data type, and non-primitive because in this example, if you look at S1, S1 is a object, and that object is not fixed from before. This object was made just now, and what are the contents inside it? It could be anything else also, because the compiler will have to wait for the class to be made. Only then it will understand this time what are the internal details student has, because if anyone else writes a student with some other specification, there is no one to stop them. But you cannot change what the primitive requirements are. So whenever it is integer, it is getting fixed. But if it is something made by me or made by you or made by somebody else, then wherever there is a chance of it changing in program to program, there only the compiler has to sit down and calculate how much space to be allocated. And that is why S1 will also be considered as a non-primitive. Okay. So we come to properties of non-primitives. This one you can pause the video and easily connect it. There are non-primitives which are arrays. Arrays have got a bunch of variables, but the easy part of arrays, all of them are of the same type. Therefore, it is comparatively uniform in nature. They are like with the help of cell numbers, they are created. Cell numbers range from 0 to whatever is the total capacity, that minus 1, right? And you have got non-primitives which are objects. These objects are one step higher than arrays, you can say, because objects are made with variety of data, and they have this enclosure and OOP concept, and it is enclosed with the help of with the help of the class, and the member data are accessed with the help of dot operator. Okay.